The phantom slowly, gravely, silently approached. When it came near him, Scrooge bent down upon his knee. For in the very air through which this spirit moved, it seemed to scatter gloom and mystery. Or perhaps that was Scrooge's flatulence returning. The spirit was shrouded in a deep black garment, which concealed its head, its face, its form, and left nothing of it visible save one outstretched hand. But for this, it would have been difficult to detach its figure from the night and separate it from the darkness by which it was surrounded. Perhaps a high-vis jacket might have helped, but they hadn't been invented in the 19th century. Scrooge felt that the spirit was tall and stately when it came beside him, and that its mysterious presence filled him with a solemn dread. He knew no more, for the spirit neither spoke nor moved. Boring git. I am in the presence of the ghost of Christmas yet to come. First came the ghost of Christmas past, then the ghost of Christmas present. You must be the ghost of Christmas yet to come. The spirit answered not, but pointed onward with its hand, which is just as good a thing to point with as any other body part. Wouldn't you rather I called you Ghost of the Future? You know, past, present, and future. The ghost said nothing. Oh, I think you're too tense. The ghost said nothing, but shrugged, as though to indicate that he couldn't give a flying monkey's cuss about what he was called. Still he pointed at Scrooge. You're a barrel of laughs, aren't you? You're about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time to come. Is that so, spirit? The ghost said nothing. It pointed a long, bony finger toward the door. I bet you're a lot of fun at parties. Okay, Mr. Personality. Are you trying to make a point? Make a point. I made it funny. Oh, you're not laughing. And you're not surprised, Ghost of the Future and all that. You've probably heard all these before, haven't you? Again, the ghost did not reply. He pointed his long, bony finger at Scrooge, and then at the door again. I see your point. Ghost of the Future, I fear you more than any spectre I have seen. Even Phil Spector, and he's bloody scary looking. But as I know your purpose is to do me good, and as I hope to live to be another man from what I was, I am prepared to bear you company, and do it with a thankful heart. Will you not speak to me? The ghost gave him no reply. The hand was pointed straight before them. Lead on! The night is waning fast. The ghost held out his bony hand, palm up, as if to feel for something falling from the sky. Waning fast, not raining fast. Oh, for the love of... The night is waning fast, and it is precious time to me, I know. Lead on, spirit. The phantom moved away as it had come towards him. Scrooge followed in the shadow of its dress, which bore him up, he thought, and carried him along. The city seemed to spring up about them, and there they were in an instant, in the heart of it. They stopped beside one little knot of businessmen, and, observing that the hand was pointed to them, Scrooge advanced to listen to their talk. All I heard about it was that he was very ill, and too mean to buy some medicine or any kind of pill.
And now he's paid the price, I hear, for clinging to his money. I know I really shouldn't laugh, but I find it rather funny. Oh, God, they've gone all rhymey now. I hate that. I thought that he would never die. And then he croaked last night. But I'm sure no one will stop and cry. He was an awful Shall we go on now, Spirit? And what about his money? What has he done with it? He hasn't left it all to me, the nasty little Shall we go now, Spirit? Scrooge and the Spirit left the businessmen to their annoying rhymey conversation and went into a filthy, low-browed shop where iron, old rags, bottles, bones, and greasy offal were bought. Sitting in among the wares he dealt in, by a charcoal stove made of old bricks, was a grey-haired rascal, nearly 70 years of age. Scrooge and the Phantom came into the presence of this man just as two women with heavy bundles slunk into the shop, followed by a man in faded black.
Let the charwoman alone to be the first. Let the laundress alone to be the second.
Let the undertaker's man alone to be the third.
Look here, old Joe, here's a chance if we haven't all three met here without meaning it.
Come in! Come in!
The charwoman threw her bundle on the floor and sat looking with a bold defiance at the other two.
What odds then? What odds, Mrs. Dilber? Every person has a right to take care of themselves, he always did. That's true indeed. No man more so. Why then, don't stand staring as if you was afraid, woman. Who's the wiser? We're not going to pick holes in each other's coats, I suppose. No, indeed.
We should hope not.
Very well then, that's enough. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like these? Not a dead man, I suppose. No. If he wanted to keep him after he was dead, a wicked old screw, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody to look after him when he was struck with death, instead of lying gasping out his last there, alone, by himself. It's the truest word that ever was spoke. It's a judgment on him. I wish it was a little heavier judgment, and it should have been, you may depend upon it, if I could have laid my hands on anything else. Open that bundle, old Joe, and let me know the value of it. Speak out plain. I'm not afraid to be the first, nor afraid for them to see it. We know pretty well that we were helping ourselves before we met here, I believe. It's no sin. Open the bundle, Joe.
But the gallantry of her friends would not allow this, and the man in faded black, mounting the breach first, produced his plunder. It was not extensive. A seal or two, a pencil case, a pair of sleeve buttons, a cuddly toy, and a brooch of no great value were all. They were severally examined and appraised by old Joe, who chalked the sums he was disposed to give for each upon the wall, and added them up into a total when he found there was nothing more to come.
Your account.
What?
Your account. That's your account. And I wouldn't give you another sixpence if I was to be boiled for not doing it. Who's next?
Mrs. Dilber was next. Sheets and towels, a little wearing apparel, 2 old-fashioned silver teaspoons, a pair of sugar tongs, a cuddly toy, and a few boots. Her account was stated on the wall in the same manner.
I always give too much to ladies. It's a weakness of mine, and that's the way I ruin myself. Your account.
What?
Your account. That's your account. If you asked me for another penny and made it an open question, I'd repent of being so liberal and knock off £0.50.
And now undo my bundle, Joe.
Is that a euphemism?
Joe went down.
What? Oh!
Joe went down on his knees for the greater convenience of opening it. And, having unfastened a great many knots, dragged out a large and heavy roll of some dark stuff.
What you call this? Bed curtains?
Yeah, bed curtains.
You don't mean to say you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there?
Yes, I do. Why not?
You were born to make your fortune, and you'll certainly do it.
I certainly shan't hold up my hand when I can get anything in it by reaching it out for the sake of such a man as he was, I promise you, Joe. Here, don't drop that oil upon the blankets now.
Here's blankets.
Yeah, who else do you think? He isn't likely to take cold without him, I dare say.
I hope he didn't die of anything catching, eh?
Don't you be afraid of that. I ain't so fond of his company that I'd loiter about him for such things if he did. You may look through that shirt till your eyes ache, but you won't find a hole in it, nor a threadbare place. It's the best he had. And a fine one too. They'd have wasted it if it hadn't been for me.
What do you call the wasting of it?
Putting it on him to be buried in, to be sure. Somebody was fool enough to do it, but I took it off again. Yeah. If calico isn't good enough for such a purpose, it isn't good enough for anything. It's quite as becoming to the body. He can't look any uglier than he did in that one.
Scrooge listened to this dialogue in horror, which was probably as much to do with the coughing and spluttering sounds as for the sentiment of the words. As they sat grouped about their spoil in the scanty light afforded by the old man's lamp, he viewed them with a detestation and disgust which could hardly have been greater though they had been obscene demons marketing the corpse itself. Old Joe produced a flannel bag with money in it and told out their several gains upon the ground.
This is the end of it, you see. He frightened everyone away from him when he was alive to profit us when he was dead.
Spirit, I see. The case of this unhappy man might be my own. My life tends that way now.